Hi everybody, happy Monday, welcome back. We're going to keep talking about insects this week, but we're going to talk about them a little bit differently. I know that last week we learned about insects. We learned how to tell what an insect has, the life cycle. You guys did some exploring. We got to see some potato bugs at our meeting. And I got to hear about worms and all kinds of really cool stuff. We went for a hike and I posted some of those pictures. They had all these sculptures of these large insects. It was really, really cool. And I thought that that was pretty neat. So insects are all around us. It's springtime. They're going to be everywhere now that the weather's finally getting a little bit nicer. So I'm going to keep talking about insects, but I'm really going to kind of use our insects to talk about some different things this week. So this week, one thing I want to start talking about, and it's a little bit separate from what we're doing in math, but it's still a math skill. And it's something you're going to learn a lot about next year. But this year I wanted to kind of get you guys started. And it happens to go along with one of my favorite insect books. You can see it's my favorite because it's falling apart. The Grouchy Ladybug. So before we read about the Grouchy Ladybug, I love this story. I want to talk a little bit about time, okay? And telling time. And this is something that's really cool for you guys to learn because you could be practicing at home, you could be practicing it all over the place. So I'm going to give you a quick little intro on telling time. So let me get my magnet here. I have my clock. There's two different types of clocks. There's a clock like this, and then there's a digital clock, which is the one you see a lot these days. I know my watch has a digital clock on it, your stove, your microwave, the box for your TV, they all have digital clocks. But the old school clocks look like this, and they're kind of my favorite, and I think they're pretty cool. So it's important for you guys to be able to read this too, right, boys and girls? So let's take a look at our clock here. We call this the clock face. I know, silly, right? This is the clock face, and these are the clock hands. We have a face, we have hands. Interesting. So here's our clock, and here's our hands, and then we see some numbers. On your clock, you have a long hand and a short hand. Okay? Now I'm going to explain what these do, and it might get a little tricky. The long hand counts the minutes on a clock, and the short hand tells us the hour. All right, boys and girls? But I want to move these for one quick second because I want to show you. So the red hand, the long hand, the big hand, shows us in red. So you can see I have these numbers in red around here, and they go by fives, like when we count by fives at school, friends. And my blue hand tells us the hour, and there's those numbers in blue. The tricky part about that is if your minute hand is here, if your minute hand, look what I did wrong. If your minute hand is here, that's not saying there's 1 minute, even though it's pointing to the number 1. This is where it gets wild, friends. See these little dots here? Those are for the minutes. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. And then 5 more is 10 minutes. 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So when this hand gets all the way around to 60 whole minutes, that means it's been 1 whole hour. And that brings us to our little blue guy down here. That's our little blue hand. And the blue hand tells us what hour it is. So after this big hand does all the work and goes through all 60 minutes, the blue hand can move to the next hour. And that's the one that says 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay? So if my clock is telling me the hour, this big hand is going to be standing straight up pointing at this 12. That's how I know it's telling me what hour it is. And we're really going to be working on just telling time to the hour right now. And once we get that, maybe we can move on. If not, you can work on that when you head up to first grade. But this guy, when he's at 12, you know you're looking at an hour. And then we look and see where the blue hand is. So if I have, my clock looks like this. My big hand's at the 12 and my little hand is at the 1. That tells me that it's 1 o'clock. If my blue hand is pointing to the 6 and my big hand's pointing to the 12, that tells me that it's 6 o'clock. And if my little hand's pointing to the 9, but my big hand's on the 12, it's 9 o'clock. Very good, friends. But if I have like this, it's still 9 o'clock, but then it's got minutes behind it. And I'll get into that when I stick it up here. So let's go back to 9 o'clock because that looked good. Put my magnet up here. So this tells me that it's 9 o'clock because my big hand's pointing up and my little hand's pointing there. Now down here is what the digital numbers look like. Like I said, this is when you're looking at your clock, or sometimes if you have a digital watch, that's what's telling you the time there. So if I was gonna write 9 o'clock like on a digital clock, you see these 2 dots here, friends? The hour goes before those dots and the minutes go after. So we know it's 9 because it's pointing to 9, that's our hour. And then there's the tricky part of how many minutes there are. Well, because my hand's pointing straight up, there haven't been any minutes yet. So this is what 9 o'clock looks like. You put 2 minutes, 2 spots for your 2 minutes there, friends. 9 o'clock looks like that. So if I was to move it to this, I would make this a 10. If I was to move it over there, I would make my hour the 4. And that's how you would write those times. I attached a paper where you could go through and you can tell me, writing in the digital form, what time it is. All right? And tell me what hour it is. And then when we meet back up on Wednesday, I'm going to show you how to write in the minutes. But for now, boys and girls, I want you to just focus on telling me what hour it is before the minute hand moves. And like I said, Wednesday we'll talk about when the minutes change. All right? So, pretty cool stuff. Now it's time for my book, The Grouchy Ladybug. So, it's kind of a long story and it's falling apart, but I promise I'm going to read it really, really fun. And what I love about this book is it has like little clocks up in the corners, see them? And it does a lot with the time, and the hour changes a lot when this guy's pretty hungry. All right, so The Grouchy Ladybug by our man Eric Carle. We love that guy, right, boys and girls? So let's see, I'm reading this with the permission of Scholastic Books. All right, let me get close here. It was night, and some fireflies danced around the moon. At 5 o'clock, there's my clock, see it says 5 o'clock. The little hands on the 5 and the big hands on the 12. You know what, friends? Look at this. Let's do that. I'll change this. At 5 o'clock, the morning sun came up. A friendly ladybug flew in from the left. It saw a leaf with many aphids on it. Aphids are little tiny bugs that eat leaves. And decided to have them for breakfast. But just then a grouchy ladybug flew in from the right. It too saw the aphids and wanted them for breakfast. Good morning, said the friendly ladybug. Go away, shouted the grouchy ladybug. I want those aphids. We can share them, suggested the friendly ladybug. No, they're mine, all mine, screamed the grouchy ladybug. Or do you want to fight me for them? If you insist, answered the friendly ladybug sweetly. It looked the other bug straight in the eye, and the grouchy ladybug stepped back and looked less sure of itself. You're not big enough for me to fight, it said. Why don't you go and pick on somebody bigger? I'll do it, screeched the grouchy ladybug. I'll show you. It puffed itself off and flew away. He's grumpy, right? Super grumpy. Now it's 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, it met a yellow jacket. There's the bee. Hey, you, said the grouchy ladybug. Want to fight? If you insist, said the yellow jacket, showing its big stinger. You're not big enough, said the grouchy ladybug, and flew off. At 7 o'clock, it saw a stag beetle. Hey, you, want to fight? If you insist, said the stag beetle, opening its big jaws. You're not big enough, said the grouchy ladybug, and flew off. At 8 o'clock, it came across a praying mantis. Hey, you, want to fight? If you insist, said the praying mantis, reaching out with its front legs. You're not big enough, said the grouchy ladybug, and he flew off. At 9 o'clock, it almost flew into a sparrow. Hey, you, said the grouchy ladybug. Want to fight? If you insist, said the sparrow, opening its beak. You're not big enough, and he flew off. Going to the next hour, 10 o'clock. It saw a lobster. Hey, you, said the grouchy ladybug. Want to fight? If you insist, said the lobster, stretching its claws. You're not big enough. And he flew off. Starting to think he's not as tough as he thinks he is, right, friends? We're on to 11 o'clock now. At 11 o'clock, it bumped into a skunk. Hey, you, said the grouchy ladybug. Want to fight? If you insist, said the skunk, starting to lift its tail. Oh, no, you're not big enough, said the grouchy ladybug, and flew off. At 12 noon, so when it comes like this, boys and girls, and they're both pointing at the 12, we say that's noon if it's during the day. It spotted a boa constrictor. Hey, you, said the grouchy ladybug. Say it with me, friends. Want to fight? If you insist, said the snake right after lunch. You're not big enough, said the grouchy ladybug and flew off. At 1 o'clock, it happened upon a hyena. Hey, you, said the grouchy ladybug. Let's hear your friends. Want to fight? If you insist, said the hyena, laughing eerily and showing its teeth. Oh, you're not big enough, said the grouchy ladybug and flew off. At 2 o'clock, it met a gorilla. Hey, you, said the grouchy ladybug. Want to fight? If you insist, said the gorilla, beating its chest. Oh, you're not big enough, said the grouchy ladybug and flew off. At 3 o'clock, it ran into a rhinoceros. Hey, you, said the grouchy ladybug. Want to fight? If you insist, said the rhinoceros, lowering its horn. Oh, you're not big enough, said the grouchy ladybug and flew off. Look at how little he is. And he's telling this guy he's not big enough. This grouchy ladybug is grouchy. My favorite, boys and girls. At 4 o'clock, it encountered an elephant. Hey, you, said the grouchy ladybug. Want to fight? If you insist, said the elephant, raising its trunk and showing its big tusks. Oh, you're not big enough, said the grouchy ladybug and flew off. At 5 o'clock, it met a whale. Hey, you, said the grouchy ladybug. Want to fight? But the whale didn't answer at all. You're not big enough. Anyway, said the grouchy ladybug and flew off. Look at how little he is, guys. Come on. At 5:15, so this, boys and girls, is when the minutes move. I'll show you what 5:15 looks like. At 5:15, the grouchy ladybug said to one of the whale flippers, hey, you, want to fight? But it got no answer, so it flew off. Do whale flippers talk? No. At 5:30, that's 30 minutes, friends. So when the minutes go down to 30, still at the hour of 5, though. At 5:30, the grouchy ladybug said to the whale's fin, hey, you, want to fight? But it got no answer, so it flew off. At 5:45, which means 45 minutes. Yeah, it's 45 minutes and it's still on the 5. The grouchy ladybug said to the whale's tail, hey, you, want to fight? And the whale's tail gave the grouchy ladybug such a slap. That it flew across the sea and across the land. Oh my gosh, where's it gonna end up? And then it was 6 o'clock. So the minutes went all the way around, so now the hour changed and now it's 6 o'clock. The ladybug arrived right back to where it started. Ah, here you are again, said the friendly ladybug. You must be hungry. There are still some aphids left. You can have them for dinner. That's a really nice ladybug, isn't it, friends? Oh, thank you, said the wet, tired, and now hungry ladybug. So he's saying thank you, and she's saying you're welcome. There's the little tiny aphids. Soon all the aphids were gone. Thank you, said the leaf. You're welcome, answered both ladybugs, and they went to sleep. The fireflies, who had been sleeping all day, came out to dance around the moon. So boys and girls, aphids are really real bugs, and they're real tiny, and they eat leaves. So when you're exploring, if you see leaves that have like all little holes in them, it's because the aphids have eaten them. So in our story, the leaf was pretty happy that the ladybugs came and ate the other bug, the aphid, because now they're saving those leaves. So see how these bugs do nice things? Creepy bugs. All right, so I love that story because he was a really grouchy ladybug and he didn't need to be because he met a nice ladybug who was going to help him from the very beginning. So just to review, boys and girls, the big hand tells you what minute it is. But when it's pointing to the 12, you're going on your hour. And your little hand tells you what hour it is. Okay? And we went through all the hours. He was a busy ladybug. I also attached a little writing thing that I want you guys to do. I want you to tell me what makes you grouchy. Like I am grouchy when I don't get my coffee. We know that, right, guys? We all know I need my coffee, right? So I want you to think of something that would make you a little grouchy. Because we all get a little grumpy, don't we? It happens. We just have to try to fight through it and be in a good mood. And in the end, even the grouchy ladybug ended up somewhat happy, right? So those are the 2 things you guys are going to work on when we're done here. You're going to do your time review, and you're going to do your grouchy ladybug writing, okay? Great job today, friends. I know it was a long story, but thanks for staying with me. I'll see you Wednesday.